Let's bring Dave Weinberg in from the Press of Atlantic City. We'll talk a little bit more about this Eagles game and team and everything that's happening. As Dave, you've been covering this team a long, long time, 25, 26 years, 27 years. Have you seen a situation like this week where they put Wednesday on hold and flipped it to Thursday? We had all sorts of randomness, but this team is that banged up that they had to change their entire practice schedule.
Yeah, I've seen them do it before, but not until like late in the year, like week 15, 16, 17, just to preserve themselves for the playoffs. But to do it in week 3 is unheard of. That's the first time I've ever seen them do that.
Now, with all the injuries, Deshaun, Jeffrey, Goddard, we know Jernigan and some of the other guys, but do you anticipate seeing, a very scaled-back team on Sunday against the Lions?
Not really, no. Doug seems to be pretty adept at just plugging guys in and expecting them to carry the load. I mean, you're going to see Mac Hollins and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Nelson Aguilar will probably have a bigger role, be a lot of Zach Ertz, but I don't think he'll change his game plan a whole heck of a lot, other than maybe less down the field throws with Deshaun not out there. But Doug's a big believer. He has a lot of confidence in his offensive system, and I don't think he'll alter it a whole heck of a lot.
Dave, what's your biggest, we've talked a lot about secondary issues, running game, lack thereof issues. What's your biggest, concern right now as we're getting closer and closer to Sunday, week 3?
Pass rush.
Yeah.
But I was expecting the outside guys, Brandon Graham, Vinny Curry, those guys to at least have one sack by now. The fact that Timmy Jernigan and safety are the only people with sacks, that's kind of concerning to me. Fletcher Cox was talking today and said, trust me, the sacks are going to come, and they're going to come in bunches when they do. But I'm kind of waiting for that to happen. I expected them to be able to get after the quarterback, and that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, when a lot of people bring up the secondary issues or, Darby getting beat, this team has prided itself on, the pressure into the opposing team's backfield with their defensive line, and we really haven't seen that yet come to fruition at all, especially in Atlanta with, everything that was stacked up against them. What's next now? I mean, we saw Jim Schwartz blitz heavy. That's something that he had to do in that game Sunday against Atlanta. Is that going to be a trend now if he feels like he has to do that? Or how do they get the defensive line back to where they want it to be?
That's a good question, Ryan. I don't think he'll blitz right away against the Lions. I mean, Stafford's pretty good at getting rid of the ball as it is, but I think he's just counting for those guys to finally start to play up to expectations, for them to finally start, rattling the quarterback a little bit. Maybe not even just getting sacks, but just like pressuring Stafford, making him throw the ball before he wants to, making him go where he doesn't want to go with it. And if they can do that, then they'll be okay. But I would think as the game goes on, if he sees that's not happening, I guess he's going to have no choice but to start the blitz again.
And he doesn't like to do that, Dave. No. We know. And one of the things that can help him not blitz is a guy like Jalen Ramsey, right? I mean, if he has a corner like that, he might not have to blitz so much. So what is your take on the potential of a deal like that? Do you think that Howie, their name keeps coming up? I mean, the NFL trade deadline was always a dud, but now it's almost like basketball and baseball where we hear these rumors and, stuff like that. There is more action. So with Howie Roseman and the Eagles' need, is it something that we can connect the dots and feel like is a strong possibility?
I don't know about strong possibility. It depends on what you're going to have to give up. I don't know if I'm going to mortgage the farm for him, but there's no doubt he's an elite corner, and he would definitely help. But if you're asking a guy to cover a guy for like 5 seconds, I don't care who you are, you're probably going to get beat. So I don't know that Ramsey solves the issue with the pass rush, but there's no question he would help. And I guess the Eagles they always come up whenever there's a player available, whether it's Antonio Brown or Micah Fitzpatrick or now Jalen Ramsey. The Eagles are always in the conversation, and rightfully so, because like you said, Howie has that reputation for kicking the tires, making the phone calls. That's how they got Jay Ajayi a couple of years ago. So you can never put it past them, but I think it'll be a little bit surprising if he becomes an Eagle.
What is your where do you feel where are you, I should say, with Darby? When they got him, he was a very good player. but the injuries, I think, has slowed him down. And Sidney Jones, I mean, he was very valued when they brought him in, but now we're in year number 3. I thought he played pretty well last week, and I'm a big fan of Jones. I like him, but you see them all the time. You get to see him from a little better vantage point up top there. What is your take on where those two guys are right now?
You're right. Darby is probably slowed down a little bit. I mean, he just can't seem to stay healthy. When he's healthy, I think he's as good as you're going to get. I think he's no question he's their number 1 corner. Although I'm a big Avonte Maddox fan myself. I thought he showed a lot last year as a rookie, having to alternate between corner and safety. They seem to be able to move him around in the slot outside. I think he's probably the most valuable guy. The jury's still, I'm still like kind of undecided on what Sidney Jones is. He's shown flashes of being a very good corner, but like with Ronald, he's had his injury issues as well. So I got to see a little bit more from Sidney before I'm ready to render an opinion, I guess.
Now, the Eagles sit at 1-1. We talk about the Jalen Ramsey rumors, the injuries that are starting to pile up. I don't want to be too dramatic about it, but Eagles are 1-1.
No, you're right.
Yeah, all right, I'll take that. So,
Dave, I saw you in that blue tent.
I know, yeah, you were in there. I'm going to be in there soon. How important of a game is this? I mean, the Eagles are essentially touchdown favorites at home. We all know how well they play at home at the Link, but the Cowboys are going to be on their way to 3-0, most likely 4-0. If the Eagles somehow blunder here with these injuries and lose a game at home, now you're 1-2, and the whole playoffs can already change week 3. Is that fair?
I think you might be jumping the gun just a little bit.
Yes.
But that's what Eagles fans do. It's always a week-to-week deal. One day they're Super Bowl contenders. Next week it's, oh, my God, we're going to have the number 1 overall pick, you know? So
right.
It's well, of course, you won't as long as the Dolphins are in the league, but you'll say. But it is. I guess it's kind of a big game, like you said, because the Cowboys are certainly going to go 3-0. But I'm not sure that it'll be quite time to panic if they wind up losing. It's still 1-2, but there's still 13 games left. It'd be it'd be kind of tough to lose with the Green Bay game coming up on Thursday night. To go 1-3, then you might be starting to panic a little bit. So I guess that makes this Sunday's games pretty important. Like you said, you'd much rather be 2-2 than 1-3.
Yep.
Dave Weinberg from the Press of Atlantic City. You can follow him on Twitter at PressACWeinberg. 27 years on the Eagles beat and a lot of trips to the blue tent they had this past week. We'll see who comes out and who ends up playing, but Dave, of course, does a great job covering the Eagles for the Press of Atlantic City, and follow him at PressACWeinberg. All right, Dave, we'll talk to you soon, pal.
All right, hopefully I'll see you at the Barefoot Beach Bar again one of these days.
We'll be there tomorrow, every Friday.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yes, we'll be there Fridays for the rest of the fall and the football season, which means a little happy hour fun.
Oh, awesome. Oh, no, I'll try to stop by.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, Dave. All right. Dave Weinberg, like all guests, appear via the Boardwalk Honda hotline.